Our world is exciting and mysterious. I share my stories of my adventures with you. Welcome to Igor Travels the World. Take a look at this block, guys. Look at how large it is. It starts here and continues all the way to the corner. So let's walk it. And then watch how it actually turns the corner and seemingly continues to there. That is quite a large block. So I'm standing at the wall, which is behind me. Now this wall was built in the year 19 BCE by Herod the Great, and it's actually a retaining wall because once he expanded the Temple Mount area, which is above there, they needed a wall to keep all the soil and everything from kind of pushing down and then eventually falling apart and falling down. So it's actually the retaining wall. Another really interesting fact is the stones that you see behind me range in weight from 2 to 8 tons. That is quite a significant feat when the wall is 100 feet tall.
A story. According to Jewish tradition, when God creates the world, He creates it from a certain point. That point becomes the peak of a mountain, Mount Moriah, which is only a few hundred feet from here, and specifically one stone that forms and becomes the entire world. That stone becomes known as the foundation stone. It's the foundation for all the world, but in particular it's the foundation for Jewish history. Because to this stone comes Abraham and his son, Isaac. Okay, now, when Abraham arrives here with his son Isaac, thousands of years ago, he comes to the binding of Isaac. It's a biblical story. Later, Isaac's son, Jacob, comes to this spot when he runs away from his brother Esau. Okay? Brothers don't often they're not peaceful, right? They fight with each other, and that's fine. But Esau really wanted to kill Jacob. So he runs away and he sleeps one night on top of this mountain and he has a dream. What's the dream that he has? He sees a ladder from the ground going up to the heavens and angels going up and down that ladder. And when he wakes up in the morning, what does he say? Anybody remember? He says, "How awesome! How awesome is this place? Surely this is the house of God and the gateway to heaven." But if you were to look around with regular eyes, in the time of Jacob, you would see no houses, you would see no gates. And you may ask Jacob, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You'll see." And about 1,000 years after Jacob, there was a king. He was the son of King David, and his name was Solomon. And Solomon builds this directly on the peak of the mountain. This is the Holy of Holies of the temple. The mountain comes out through the floorboards, and on it is the Ark of the Covenant, later taken by Indiana Jones to the Smithsonian. But that building lasts for just over 400 years. And from the north, in the year minus 586, come the Babylonians. And they destroy this building, and they take the Jewish people to exile. What do the Jewish people do in exile? Lots of things. But one of the things they do is they write a great hit that was very popular back in the 80s, I think. Okay, the band was known as, but it goes like, the song goes something like this. By the rivers of Babylon, by the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, where we wept, when we remembered Zion. Boney M didn't write that track. It was the Jews in Babylon. When after 70 years they come back and they build a second temple exactly where the first one was. But this time it's actually very small and it's a work in progress. And over hundreds of years, it finally reaches this extent. The final great expansion happens the last 75 years of its existence. And we can see the Western Wall over here. Where's the Western Wall that you all stand out when you pray, when you're outside? It's only about 17% of the Western Wall that existed, like so. The Western Wall from south to north was 488 meters long. It's about 1,300 feet long. And from the bottom, from the marketplace below to the top, was 40 meters. Again, about 130 odd feet high. A very tall building. So what happened to the Western Wall? In the year 70, the Romans destroyed the second temple, the Holy Temple, but the Western Wall remains in its entire length, but about half the height. This is a situation that lasts over 600 years of rubble and dirt being thrown onto the mountain, until 1,300 years ago approximately, with the advent of Islam, the Arabs from the Arabian Peninsula come to the Holy Land. They clear the top of the mountain and they begin to build their buildings on top of where the temple was. In fact, this building sits directly on where the Holy of Holies of the temple was. It's known as
Dome of the Rock.
Dome of the Rock, not any old rock. It's the rock. It's the peak of the mountain where the world started, where Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, King David, King Solomon, the high priest, Indiana Jones. Okay? It's all there. Now, in the ensuing centuries, particularly in the past 600 years or so, the rulers of the land begin to build houses in the valley around the Temple Mount and almost completely covering the Western Wall. Today, this is the situation. This is about 17% of the Western Wall that you see. Where's the rest of it? Well, that's what we're going to show you tonight. We are under these buildings of the Muslim Quarter, and to show you exactly where, we're actually here. We're going to walk, find the Western Wall, walk to the end of the Western Wall, and hopefully by that time we'll appreciate why the Western Wall is so significant. Are you ready to come with me on this tour?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Okay, an arch. Okay? So, what is this arch? I don't know if you noticed, lots of arches around here. This arch and the arches that will come before it and after it in a straight line, we're in a room that is actually part of the arches, is 2,200 years old, was built here in the time of the Hasmonean kings. This is the people who saved us in the time of the story of Hanukkah. Okay? So it's basically the festival we are celebrating now. And any other arches that you see, including this one, that are attached to it, and the ones further on, They're all arches that are only between 6 and 400 years old. What's the difference and why? Imagine to yourself Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. There's a mountain behind us. It's called Mount Moriah. Who lives on Mount Moriah? God. Okay? Surely this is the house of God, said our forefather Jacob. So where do the Jerusalemites live? Any idea? Pretty much where they live today. Today we call it the Jewish quarter, the Armenian quarter, and the Christian quarter. It's a different mountain. In between two mountains is a valley. And obviously we do not live in a cold place like Switzerland. So it's very hot. How popular would it be to go to a temple if you have to go up and down valleys, up and down, up and down? Not very popular. So about 2,200 years ago, they built a bridge made up of double arches. On top of which was a walkway, and it became the most common and popular way for people to go up the Temple Mount from the residential part of Jerusalem to our west. It also carried water. It was an aqueduct that brought water from at least 23 kilometers away to bring it into Jerusalem. Now, we're obviously not on top of the bridge, but we're also not under the bridge, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the topmost arch, okay? And there's another arch below us, and then the original ground. In this tour, we're actually never in a tunnel. We're never under the ground. We do not go through mountains or walls, and most of the time we're way above the original ground level. I'm going to show you where the ground level is.
That's a real ground level. Wow, it keeps going.
Son 3 kilómetros, un puente de 3 kilómetros.
Okay, don't stay under cover. Come straight out, please. Can I ask you to help me? Or are you shy? No, I need somebody of a certain height. Excellent, doing very well. Now, Michali is standing next to the Western Wall. This is the Western Wall. Have a look at the building above us. It's a Muslim building built about 500 years ago. You see how it comes directly onto the Western Wall, so it covers it. Now Michali is standing next to an average stone. Okay? An average stone is about Michali's height. Michali is a little bit taller. If we take out the stone, Michali can sleep on it. You can even turn. Okay? It's big enough to be a bed. Behind this is another 5 stones like it. So the wall is very thick. Each stone has a beautiful carving. Look at it. It rests on the other one perfectly. 2 centimeters or an inch in. There's a gradient going up. Now, I want to ask for 2 other volunteers. You look. Stop. Lorenzo. Okay. So you're tall, so I'm going to ask you. Can you go over there, please? What's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry. Uncle Jerry. Wait, just 1 second. Now you make sure that this works so you know where to stop. Go down, make your fingers do the walking. Walk, no, down, until I tell you to stop. More. Go on, Uncle Jerry, Stop, Uncle Jerry. That's it. Now, between Jerry and Lorenzo, okay, is one rock. The biggest stone in the Western Wall. There's 5 really huge stones here in the Western Wall. This is the second biggest stone in the world in the building. The other one is in Baalbek in Lebanon. This rock is 45 feet long, 15 feet thick, 9 feet tall. And I'm going to ask Lorenzo and Jerry to lift it gently and tell me how much it weighs. Uno, dos, tres, no? No. What? Jerry, help him, no. Use the other hand, the strong hand. From the bottom, from the bottom. Whoa. No, grab a hold of it. Okay. So, imagine a very big aeroplane, like a jumbo jet. All the seats are filled. All the storage area is filled. You will need 2 of them for one of these. Okay? Almost 800 tons of rock. Okay? It's a huge rock. Now, do you think this is a simple wall? Do you think they put a lot of effort into the wall? Definitely. So why am I telling you this? Because you're all interested in building, right? Of course. No, ladies and gentlemen, because in the year 70, the Romans, are there other Romans over here? No, nobody agrees to be a Roman. You're not a Roman like the Romans, like the Romans. Of course not. But the Romans destroyed the temple in the year 70. And since then, we haven't seen that building. Not our grandparents or their grandparents. But we heard about it. We heard what the sages said thousands of years ago, that he who has not seen this building, has not seen a beautiful building in all their life. We still cry about it every day and have one day in a year of commemoration for the destruction of the temple. But we haven't seen it. But we've seen the Western Wall. If this is the outside fence around the garden, how beautiful and how special and how much effort would have been that building in the center. So we now have the box in which the jewel was kept, and it reminds us of the beautiful things that we've lost. That's the first reason why the Western Wall is so special. We're moving on. For 600 years, Jewish people were not allowed to enter Jerusalem, and very few did in that course of time, from the year of destruction. And the Romans made sure to throw garbage on the mountaintop to make sure that no people would ever come back to it. However, in the 7th century, the Muslims arrived, and with them the Jews come back to Jerusalem. The Muslims claim the top of the mountain and begin to build their buildings. And the Jews, well, they have to find an alternative place to pray. They don't automatically think of the Western Wall, because the Western Wall is like praying at the back of your supermarket. Okay? It's nothing special. But they come here. This is one of 4 entrances through the Western Wall onto the Temple Mount. In fact, it's a long tunnel that ends up in stairs, and it was used by the priests serving in the temple to exit the Temple Mount. When the Jews come back in the 7th century, 1,300 years ago, they clean that space out, and it becomes the only place for Jews to pray during the Middle Ages. For about 500 years, it's used as a synagogue, until in the year 1099, the Crusaders arrive in Jerusalem. They massacre the Jews and the Muslims of Jerusalem, and they lock up the synagogue, and they use the space as a cistern, a place to collect rainwater. And this is the way it stays till today, ladies and gentlemen. But by 1,300 years ago, Jews are beginning to associate the Western Wall as a place to congregate to pray. And that's the second reason why the Western Wall begins to be significant. Equal, the Western Wall is not important. When you have a synagogue all over the world, the synagogue actually faces where the temple used to be, on top of the mountain. Also, our prayers, we believe, go to that house of God over there, that gateway to heaven. Even today, when the temple no longer stands, at least the stones of the temple don't stand. But the place remains the place connecting heaven and earth. When Jews pray 3 times a day, one of the main features is Jerusalem. When we say grace after meals, it's Jerusalem. When we stand under the canopy, wedding canopy, to get married, we say that we remember Jerusalem, and if we don't, then that's very bad for us. And that's how it is. Jerusalem is central, and that place is a collection of all our prayers. Not only Jewish prayers, we believe, but everybody's prayers. Now, where would we be if the temple stood? Where would we be in prayer? On top, on the inside. But now we're on the outside. Now, we're not exactly face to face with God, but we are at a local call. We're very, very close. So people use the Western Wall and have used the Western Wall for 1,000 years as a place to pray. And it becomes known also as the Wailing Wall, the place to pray, to cry. They cry because we can't go up there. And they cry because it's the closest place they can get to the holiest spot in the world. And the reason behind all these little notes is because Jews made the journey back to the Holy Land throughout the years of the expulsion. For 2,000 years, Jews have been coming back. In particular, over the past 800 years. And now, today, it's very easy. You get on an aeroplane, if it's Europe, 4 or 5 hours, if it's the States, 9 hours or 12 hours, and you get here. You might be a little bit dehydrated and fed up. But it would take you a year or maybe years to get here back in the day, 50, 70, 100 years ago and more. And some people would lose their money on the way, be robbed. Some people would be killed. Some people would get sick and die, or just give up. But everywhere they traveled, they would stay in somebody's home for the Sabbath, and the people would say, well, we respect you very much, but we think you're crazy. It's such a difficult journey. But if you make it to Jerusalem, please remind us to Jerusalem. We remember Jerusalem, but does Jerusalem remember us? And they said, well, how will we remind you to Jerusalem? We don't know until then. We might forget your names. If you won't forget, we'll write it on a small piece of paper, we'll roll it up, and you'll carry it. After a year or two, by the time they make it, they will have a small bundle of rolled up notes with people's names. And they would find a place in the walls of the city of Jerusalem to put the names, so that Jerusalem itself would remember all those people in the Jewish diaspora. And it seems to have done that, because this is the place that everybody comes to when they come to Israel, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to walk through this narrow path. We will see the rest of the Western Wall. We're keeping the Western Wall on our right-hand side. Okay? Take you a few minutes to go through.
Perché sono più vicini a quello che era.
So ladies and gentlemen, let's just recap what we've done. We started off south and we've walked north. Walked along the marketplace, so to speak, above the marketplace. The marketplace, of course, was an open air marketplace. All these buildings above your head, they've only been here between 400 and 600 years. That's it. Okay? The stalls came out of the Western Wall on one side. There was a road on the other, and then stalls again on the other side of the road. But you have to imagine that it's an open air, and it's not as constricting and narrow as we see it, because there are buildings now that make up the Muslim quarter of Jerusalem, the old city. But here, in this place, there's one thing you don't need is imagination. Look what you're standing on. You're actually standing on the original floor of the marketplace. This floor was put here about 2,100 years ago. Okay, our ancestors would have walked on this road. And the marketplace doesn't go any further north, it goes west. You see these columns? There was a whole row of columns, 2 rows, with a covering, and shops were in the middle. Then a road, and opposite, more columns. Today, after all the destruction and whatever, there stand behind here 9 columns still standing up. Okay? And these 9 columns and the Western Wall and the bridge, they're the things that are actually holding up the Muslim quarter. Can you imagine that how well they built, that even 2,200 and more years after they're built, they're still standing and holding things above their heads. We today are midgets on the shoulders of giants. Today, when we build anything from a house to a telephone, it breaks quickly because we want it cheap, quick and nasty. In those days, when they valued something like this place, where the world started, where all of humanity starts, where Jewish history begins, where it's the gateway to heaven, it's worth it to bring 800-ton rocks. It's worth it to build solid so that even 100,000 crazy Romans can destroy it. Okay? They can destroy a lot, but they can't destroy everything. Okay? The stones, ladies and gentlemen, are taken from the mountains around Jerusalem, like this one, the Antonia Mountain. The Western Wall actually finishes right over here. Okay, these are the last stones of the Western Wall. Everything here is a mountain. It's a mountain called the Antonia Mountain. On top of it was the Antonia Fortress, where Pontius Pilate had his office. Okay, so they didn't break anything to break these last few stones of the marketplace. Okay, when you're outside, you're over here. We were under the bridge. We walked along. This is the place where there was like a cave where the Jews prayed in the Middle Ages. We walked along the narrow tunnel, and now we are here. Okay? That's where we are.